Chapter 4. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring back the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will gather all the nations, and I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will enter into judgment with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and divided my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, and have drunk. And also, what are you to me, O Tyre, and Zidon, and all the regions of Philistia? Will you render retribution on my behalf? And if you render retribution on my behalf, swiftly, speedily, will I return your retribution upon your own head. For as much as you have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried it into your temples, my goodly treasures, the children also of Judah and children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the sons of Yevanim, that you might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will stir them up out of the place whither you have sold them, and I will return your retribution upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the men of Sheba, to a nation far off. For the Lord hath spoken. Proclaim you this among the nations. Prepare war, stir up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Haste you, and come, all you nations round about, and gather yourselves together. There cause your mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the nations be stirred up, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the nations round about. Put you in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, tread you, for the winepress is full. The vats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon are become black, and the stars withdraw their shining. And the Lord shall roar from Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But the Lord will be a refuge unto his people, and a stronghold to the children of Israel. So shall you know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her any more. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down sweet wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the brooks of Judah shall flow with waters. And a fountain shall come forth of the house of the Lord, and shall water the valley of Shittim. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. But Judah shall be inhabited forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. And I will hold as innocent their blood, that I have not held as innocent, and the Lord dwelleth in Zion. All right, let's go back up to verse 1. Yesterday we had the chapter that's kind of caught in between the finishing of chapter 2 in King James Version, and this is chapter 3 in this book. And we spoke about this, that comes to pass, this period where God pours out his Spirit, his understanding upon all flesh. Even this, we'll find out, even this knowledge that God makes himself known even in judgment to those who transgress the law. And he's going to pour his Spirit out upon everybody, because it's understanding in the law is what it is. Understanding in the law, that the law has to be kept in the flesh. There's the sin poured out. You have to make atonement for it. And as well as in the Spirit, that which decides whether we give in or we don't. See, if we're obedient to the law within, the law never makes its way without. We're going to pick this up in verse 1. For behold, in those days, and in that time, when I shall bring back the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. For behold, watch and see, listen, in those days, and in those days, those periods of time when we can witness all these things that Joel has been talking about, and in that time when I shall bring back the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. Judah, those of praisings, and Jerusalem, that that place the teachings of peace. This place of the teachings of peace, I call it the place of peaceful teachings. It doesn't matter. It's the same place. It's Jerusalem. It's that place God's been making an example of from the beginning. Verse 2, I will gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will enter into judgment with them there for my people, and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and divided my land, and taken over my land, even that land of understanding that belongs to God, see, and the knowledge of God that comes from the law. We just learned about this in Ezekiel. This land that belongs to God, it's His kingdom. It's the understanding, and He gives the doc to rule over it. The valley of Jehoshaphat, even, this God has set the rule of law. Jehoshaphat means God has set the rule of law there, and that is the law. The law is the rule of it, and it judges automatically. When you transgress the law, you are found guilty instantaneously. You die, just like God said, when you eat that which is forbidden, you do that which is forbidden, you partake of it, you die instantly. God gathers all the nations into that valley. That valley, I always refer to the valley as that lower place, that place that has a valley in it, and that is the place of flesh, even this place that God judges in and can show His judgment in, that we can see. And He does this for His people, because we'll find out what they do is they take advantage of, they lie and they cheat, and sooner or later it makes itself known as in society as degradation. It shows up in our children the worst, and the children who suffers the most. 3, and they have cast lots for my people, and given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, and have drunk. And this they have cast lots for my people, and they have cast lots upon my people, or chosen who's going to get what. We'll find out in a minute who we're talking to. And they have given a boy for a harlot. And this boy is Yeled. And this Yeled, it refers to a child, usually a young boy, and for a harlot, see, to play this harlot. And this is to this young one who has no understanding, who has no strength, and giving him over into the harlot, or to play the harlot, and go into all the other understandings there is, even in the earth. That's what playing a harlot is. And they've sold a girl for wine. They sold this girl, this Yaldah, and that is a young girl or a maiden, this one who is of a marriageable age, for wine. And because she represents this young understanding that is available, that is not known man, that is ready to receive understanding, but they've sold her for wine, traded her off for drink, because that's who we're talking to, and they have drunk, see? And they've traded off their understanding for drunkenness, is what it is. 4. And also, what are you to me, O Tyre, and Zidon, and all the regions of Philistia? Will you render retribution for my behalf? And if you render retribution on my behalf, swiftly, speedily, will I return your retribution upon your own head. And also, what are you to me, saith the Lord, O Tyre, that rock? We remember that great merchant city that we discussed in Ezekiel, where they come in. They thought they was just going to come in and take over everything that belonged to God because they was being punished. See, God was punishing Israel. And they thought they would come in and clean up and take over everything that was left. And Zidon, those hunters, and then what they hunt are the souls of men. They're the fishermen. That's what they are. They're the fishers. And this is those that fish for the souls of men. And the regions of Philistia, those Philistines, those ones who of Philistia, even those ones who wander away, who transgressed, who have not been obedient, see, all those ones of that region. Will you render retribution on my behalf? Are you the one who's going to judge on my behalf? Are you going to punish on my behalf, saith the Lord? Are you going to give out the just recompense, this rightful recompense? And if you render a recompense or a rightful retribution on my behalf, swiftly, speedily I will return your retribution upon your own head. Why? Because God alone has the right to judge. God alone is set judgment in the earth. God has the right of this, and nobody else. God is the judge. And he has judged every man according to his ways. See, every man according to his ways. 5. For as much as you have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried it into your temples, my goodly treasures. See, for as much as you have taken my silver and my gold, because all the silver and gold belongs to God anyway. All of it belongs to God. Everything belongs to God. You just get to use it as you pass through. You have taken it, this silver, that which is caused to pass through the fire, the gold, see, the gold that finely refined, that belongs to God anyway. They have carried it into your temples, and you have carried it into your temples. All God's goodly treasures, all God's understandings, all the things that belong to God, you have taken, tried to take it over and put it into your temples, your places, mold it over your images. See, that's what they was doing then. That's what they're doing today. 6. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the sons of Yavanim, that you might remove them far from their border. The children of Judah, these ones of praisings, and the children of Jerusalem, these ones that come from these peaceful teachings, the law in the beginning, have you sold unto the sons of Yavanim. These Yavanim is a plural, and it refers to those of Yavan. I believe the King James Version calls them the Grecians, and that would probably not be that close. Yavan is what is the effects of wine. It's the effects of wine, and what that is drunkenness. And it was the ones that Yoel was trying to wake up in the beginning when he said, "Awake, you drunkards," because that's the one we're talking about. These drunkards, these ones who love to make drunk, they love to pollute the understanding of God with their own knowledge. Behold, I will stir them up out of their place where you have sold them, and will return your retribution upon your own head. See, because God scattered them out in all the earth for one purpose, and that was that he has his army scattered in all the earth. See, and when they come and they return, they hear the word of God, and they return to the law which God gave them in the beginning for their own good, for their own understanding, for their own knowledge, and for their own wisdom. See, we will find out that God has his army everywhere. 8. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the men of Shavah, a nation far off, for the Lord has spoken. They will sell them, and they have sold them, to these ones of Shavah, these ones of the oath, these ones that take the oath. We'll find out, because God spoke it, and that's what they did. 9. Proclaim you this among the nations. Prepare war. Stir up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Proclaim you this among the nations. Let everybody understand this. Prepare war. Put your armor on. Stir up your mighty men, and let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Get ready, see, because it's the battle. It's even in understanding, because the law, we'll find out, is going to prevail. 10. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears, and let the weak say, I am strong. Let the weak say, I am strong, because God has given him understanding, and God has given him knowledge. Beat your plowshares into swords. Beat the sword, we'll find out, represents these words. Even take that which you used to till with, see, and beat it into the sword, because that's what it was prepared for. Even we'll find out in the past where they took the sword and beat it into the plowshare. 11. Haste you and come, all you nations, round about and gather yourselves together. There cause the mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Haste you, hurry up, get ready. Come, all you nations, all nations, we'll find out. It's the multitudes round about, and gather yourselves together. For there cause the mighty ones to come down, O Lord. There we'll find them, even in their judgments. There in their judgments, because these are the mighty ones of God, each and every one. 12. Let the nations be stirred up, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the nations round about. Let the nations be stirred up. And come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for you know the Lord doth make the seas to roar. And this valley, even that place they shall gather, that place even of the flesh, where God has set his rule of law, where God makes known even his rules of law, so we can see and know he is God and there is no other. Put the sickle in. 13. Put the sickle in, for the harvest is ripe. Come, tread you, for the winepress is full, the vats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Put the sickle in, bring forth the harvest, let it be known, see. God is in judgment. God is in judgment in all the earth. They violate, they transgress, they trespass his law. And tread you, for the winepress is full, and the vats overflow. They have gathered the grapes, they are all gathered, and their wickedness is great. And this wickedness, that way their truth shall come out. See, when they are crushed underfoot. 14. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. That valley of decision will refer, that is that valley of Jehoshaphat, where God has set his rule of law. You'll decide this way or that way, God said. You will decide this way or that way. Actually, the law is done decided for you. For the day of the Lord is near. See, and the work of God is at hand, and his judgment is in the earth. Turn, 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 and find refuge in God. Find refuge in his law and his understanding. 15. The sun and the moon are become black, and the stars withdraw their shining. The sun and the moon are become black. The sun, the greater light. There's no understanding, nobody teaching the law of God. And the moon, it is black, this lesser light which God give to rule over the night. All of those of it have gone into sin, having no understanding, every man doing after his own way. And the stars withdraw their shining. The stars withdraw their shining. These stars represent those lights in heaven God give for a light. See, these ones of understanding, even God said in the heavens or in the understandings, these are the lights of the heavens. They have withdrawn their shining. God has taken away knowledge. God has taken away understanding from the earth. And none consider that the righteous is taken away from the evils to come. 16. And the Lord shall roar from Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be a refuge unto his people, and a stronghold to the children of Israel. And the Lord shall roar from Zion. And the Lord does roar from Zion. In judgment, we'll find. In Zion is that parched place, that place he set for a marker in the beginning. This was the place he said he was going to parch. And he has uttered his voice from Jerusalem. He's uttered his voice. He has heard from that place of peaceful teachings. And the heavens and the earth shall shake. And the understandings, even of flesh, shall be shaken. Because, see, God is in judgment. But the Lord, he is a refuge unto his people. They have understanding that this is how God works, see. This is how God works. God works in his judgment. And it starts to show up when the transgressors reaching their full, see, and knowledge and understanding is taken away, and nobody obeys the law. We see it in our children. The children are going into degradation. And it's brought on by the lusts of men, the gain, money, all these things. See, nobody obeying the law. Nobody's obeying the law. Everybody trespassing and transgressing. And God allows these things to creep in slowly. And this is the way they show up. So shall you know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. And that's where God dwells in Zion. That parched place, even that place he sets for an example, his holy mountain, his hallowed mountain. See, that's holy mountain. That's a high place that God made for himself. That's where God set his throne in judgment. Because we'll find that that is hallowed. That place of judgment is hallowed unto God. It belongs to nobody else. You can't touch it. Hallowed means it's not for you to touch. It belongs to God. 18. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down in sweet wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the brooks of Judah shall flow with waters, and a fountain shall come forth of the house of the Lord, and it shall water the valley of Shittim. And it shall come to pass in that day, and in that understanding it has come to pass, and the mountains shall drop down their sweet wine, and these high places shall drop down their sweet wine, because we'll find out God has set his judgment in them. All these high places that they make for themselves that they're not allowed to, God set his judgment there. God said, don't do that. And they drop down their sweet wine as a witness against themselves. And the hills shall flow with milk. And this milk is that even that which flows from the breast, that which we can nurse on and have a little understanding that God has set himself in judgment in the earth. And all the brooks of Judah shall flow with waters, with understandings, these ones of praisings, because we'll find, see, God has set judgment in the earth, and God has brought understanding. And it's a fountain that comes forth from the house of the Lord. Even we remember now, right there from the threshold, as we just learned in Ezekiel. See, God making this waters flow from right underneath this threshold. It's that place where he separates. See, he separates the water, and they shall water this valley of Shittim. This valley of Shittim is the valley of acacias. Shittim is a plural for the Shittim and the acacia. And the acacia is that when it has a similitude within itself. It's that when it's broken, see, it oozes out that, and it contains that which will heal itself. 19. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. Egypt, that place of enclosures, we've referred to it many times. We're not talking about Egypt the land, Egypt the nation. We're talking about Egypt, the place of enclosures, even that of understandings, where in the beginning they had all their not of gods. See, these were all the enclosures they had. They have become a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness. And Edom, we'll find out, Edom was that which means it's red, and it means it shows the blood and the flesh. And that's what it is. There they had this blood covenant, even, we'll find. That was what it represented. They do show the sin in the flesh, and they make their sins known, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. And in their land, and even in lands of understanding, they have shed this innocent blood. And we'll find out it's murder. It is murder. Then they commit murder. That's what that blood represents there, that innocent blood, because they do hunt the souls of men, and they do slay them there. That is that place of slain. 20. But Judah shall be inhabited forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. But Judah, those of understanding, those of praising, shall be inhabited forever, and Jerusalem, that place of the teachings of peace, from generation to generation. Because we'll find, see, God has set his throne there in understanding, to those that have understanding. And to those that don't, it's confusion, and it's become stumbling block. 21. And I will hold as innocent from their blood that I have held not innocent. And the Lord dwells in Zion, and I will hold innocent their blood. See, because God has the ability to forgive. God has the ability to punish. This is God's domain, and God alone rules over it. He shall hold innocent their blood, their sin. That's what that represents. That I have not held innocent. And the Lord dwells in Zion. And that's where the Lord dwells, in Zion. In that parched place that he made an example of, this marker he set from before. See, God dwells there. It's in judgment. Turn and return. All right, we're going to move forward now. We're going to go to the book of Malachi. Hope we see you there.